I always thought cheating would be more, I don't know, cinematic. Candlelight, lipstick on a collar, some untraceable motel out in Jersey. What I didn't expect was a group chat. Not even a private one. A full-blown, family-wide, emoji-laced digital diary of betrayal delivered daily to my phone. It started like this. My wife, Jenna, had always been a little extra about our family Valkyrie group on WhatsApp. She loved it. Every trip we planned, and I mean everything from beach houses to pumpkin patches, got dumped into that thread. Photos, flight confirmations, Airbnb links, even packing checklists. It was mostly her parents, her sister Rachel, me, and the occasional +1 friend she'd add during planning phases. Normal stuff. Until it wasn't. One night I'm on the couch, watching reruns of Better Call Saul, and her phone lights up. She's in the kitchen, probably reorganizing the spices alphabetically like she does when she's anxious. The screen shows a WhatsApp notification. Can't wait to taste you again. I blinked. Fox, peach and water emoji for name? Okay. Weird, but people use dumb names on WhatsApp. Maybe it was her sister joking around. I mean, we've all sent the wrong message to the wrong thread. Could be nothing. Then it happens again. New message. You were so bad this morning. I loved it. I freeze. Now I'm not some controlling psycho, all right? I'm not the guy who reads his wife's messages or checks mileage on the car. But when your phone is blowing up with sext from someone named after a damn fruit salad emoji combo, and you immediately rush into the room, grab the phone, and disappear into the bathroom for 20 minutes, you're basically telling me I should look. So I did. Not immediately. I let it fester a few days. Collected more clues. The phone always face down. Her suddenly charging it in the bathroom. The shift in how she said goodnight. No more forehead kisses, just a muttered sleep tight, like I was the hotel concierge. Eventually, I remembered. She uses our shared Apple ID to back up her iCloud stuff. That's right. The woman who hides emoji-ridden messages in plain sight also didn't think to turn off Cloud Sync. So one night after she passed out cold, post-yoga wine combo, I took her phone, plugged it into my laptop, and restored a full backup to my old iPad. I was expecting some flirty texts, maybe an affair with her coworker Jason. He had those suspicious abs. But what I found, she added him to our damn Family Vaki WhatsApp group. She renamed him Eric, Jenny's friend's husband, like some anonymous +1. And here's the kicker. They were using the group chat like it was their own secret performance stage. Right there, in front of her mom, her dad, me, Rachel, even Aunt Linda who can't figure out how to open PDFs. How, you ask? With emoji codes. Like, we'd post a photo of our Colorado ski trip, and Jenna would comment, "Love that night." And Eric would reply with something like, "Still feeling the burn." Rachel would reply, "LOL weirdos." And her parents, bless their innocent boomer souls, would drop a heart and move on. Meanwhile, I'm scrolling through months of this cryptic roleplay like I'm decrypting Enigma. Whole conversations wrapped in cutesy symbols. Bed meant hotel. Fox was Jenna. Wolf was Eric. Peach. I never decoded Peach. But it always came before the really gross stuff. Whatever it meant, it was enough to make my stomach twist. There were even inside jokes. Memes. Romantic gifs. Literal love letters buried in image captions on group photos. And yes, audio messages. One from our trip to Cape Cod where everyone else had gone kayaking, and she stayed behind with a headache. I tapped play. Eric. God, I love it when you moan like that. Can't believe your husband was downstairs. Yep, right in the beach house I paid for. But here's what really did me in. I found a photo she posted, just a casual group selfie on a hiking trail. But if you zoomed in, Eric's hand was barely grazing her lower back. Subtle. So subtle it could have passed for friendly. Except now I knew better. And the others? Clueless. Totally oblivious. Her dad was too busy talking about trout fishing. Her mom was posting boomerangs of breakfast waffles. Rachel kept spamming us with TikToks. I had options. Could have blown up then and there. Sent a flaming group text. Marched into the kitchen, shoved the iPad in her face. But no, I wanted something better. I wanted humiliation. Slow burn. The kind that sticks with you in the quiet moments, like an itch you can't reach. And I knew just the occasion. Her parents' 40th wedding anniversary. They loved digital gadgets. Especially that new digital photo frame I bought them last year. You know, the one that pulls pictures straight from a shared iCloud album. Guess who had admin rights to that album? I got to work. Synced the best pics from our last vacation. You know, the scenic shots, the family dinners, Jenna laughing at the camera. But in between, screenshots of their emoji chats, of cropped sexts, one audio file hidden as background music, Eric moaning, Jenna giggling. I scheduled it to start playing at noon. Mid-brunch, her entire family gathered around, mimosas in hand, watching their slideshow of betrayal unfold in 4K clarity. And Jenna? She had no idea what was coming. But she would. Oh, she would. You ever notice how quiet a house feels when someone's planning something loud? Jenna had this way of humming when she was up to something. Always some breathy pop tune, just under her breath, like a secret trying to slip out. That morning, she was humming Adele while scrambling eggs, the irony of it lost on her. I was sitting at the kitchen island, pretending to read emails on my phone, but I wasn't seeing a thing. My brain was already 3 moves ahead, thinking about that slideshow. About the moment her parents' eyes would narrow. About the awkward shifting in seats, the gasps, the disbelief, the 1,000-yard stare of a dad realizing his daughter's been dry-humping a married man through family photos. "You still good for the brunch today?" she asked without turning around, shaking the pan like she was the queen of domestic peace. I was thinking we could bring a bottle of that Pinot they like. "Oh yeah," I said, eyes still on the screen. "Already packed it." Technically true. I packed it next to a flash drive, just in case the Wi-Fi at her parents' place was flaky and I needed a backup of the slideshow. Redundancy's important in moments like these. She turned, plating the eggs with that tight-lipped smile that said she still thought she was smarter than me. That was the thing about Jenna. She was beautiful, sure. Smart, absolutely. But she always had this air of superiority, like everyone else was just a character in the movie of her life. Including me. I knew better now. The real MVP of this revenge saga? Jenna's mom, ironically. A few months ago, she'd asked me to help set up that photo frame because Bluetooth confuses her. I'd linked it to a dummy iCloud album, one I could drop photos into whenever I wanted. That frame, sitting right in their formal dining room, was like my own personal stage. And today was the big premiere. I had it all queued up. The first few slides? Wholesome. Jenna as a toddler, eating birthday cake. Her dad grilling. Rachel in her hideous prom dress. Warm nostalgia to set the mood. Then, gradually, the timeline shifted to our recent family trips. Florida, the lake house, that stupid, overpriced cabin in Vermont. That's when the cracks would start to show. A selfie of Jenna and Eric on a ski lift, way too cozy. A video of her laughing a little too hard at one of his dumb jokes. A few carefully selected group shots where, if you looked close, their fingers were just brushing. Subtle. Innocent enough to cause confusion. Doubt. Then came the chat screenshots. That's when the real fun began. One slide showed Eric sending some emojis under a photo of our hiking trip. The next, Jenna replying, "Still can't sit right from that morning." I knew the average viewer wouldn't understand what they were reading at first, but all it would take was one comment from Rachel. "Wait, what's all this?" And the room would detonate. There were audio messages too, subtly edited into the loop. Played low, like background music, until you really started listening. "Eric, you taste better in the woods." Jenna, giggles, "Don't let the bear watch us this time." This was not your average anniversary slideshow. The morning went by painfully slow. Jenna, completely oblivious, kept running through mental checklists. Gifts? Check. Card? Check. Her outfit? Tight and pastel, with just enough cleavage to make her own mother click her tongue, but not say anything out loud. I showered, shaved, put on my best fake smile, and drove us to her parents' house with all the composure of a serial killer driving to his day job. We pulled into the driveway at 11:57 a.m. Brunch was at noon. Right on time. Inside, the house was already full of smells. Maple syrup, sausage links, and her dad's awful cologne that could clear a room faster than mustard gas. The frame sat on the mantel, playing a loop of Jenna's niece blowing bubbles. No one even looked at it. That would change. We exchanged greetings. Hugged her mom, her dad. Rachel waved from the couch, already sipping on champagne like it was juice. Everyone looked so happy. Naive. Like extras in a sitcom, right before the laugh track gets cut off and someone drops a body. At 12:10 p.m., as plates were being passed and mimosas refilled, I slipped into the guest bathroom, opened the Google Photos app on my phone, and synced the anniversary final.mp4 file to the Frames album. That was it. No big gesture. No speech. Just a tap and a swipe. Then I flushed the toilet for show, washed my hands, and walked back into the room like nothing happened. I took my seat next to Jenna. She was talking about her new Pilates instructor, a guy named Shane who apparently really challenges her core. I bit the inside of my cheek. And then it happened. The frame buzzed. Screen flashed. New photo album detected. It autoplayed. Slide 1. Jenna blowing out candles as a kid. Slide 2. Her dad holding her on his shoulders at Disneyland. Slide 3. Our wedding. Everyone clapped softly. Oh, I remember that, her mom said. Slide 4. Florida beach trip. Rachel groaned at how tense she looked. Slide 5. Cabin trip. Jenna and Eric on the deck. Someone, I think it was her uncle, asked, "Who's that next to Jenna?" No answer. Slide 6. Group dinner at the lake. Eric's hand on Jenna's thigh under the table, just barely visible. Her dad leaned forward. Wait a sec, who took this photo? Slide 7. The WhatsApp screenshot. Bright green bubbles. Emoji overload. One of them said, "Your moans still echo in the shower." Silence. Like dead air on a live broadcast. Rachel choked on her drink. Jenna went pale. Slide 8. A still image of their text conversation, time-stamped. Her contact name for Eric? Maintenance man. That got a full gasp. Slide 9. Audio plays. Low volume. Don't let the bear watch us this time. Her mother's fork clattered onto her plate. Then came the piece de resistance. A group photo at the cabin's bonfire, everyone smiling. Except this version had a caption edited onto it. Guess who got roasted twice this night? Her dad stood up. Jenna whispered, "What the hell?" and looked at me. I just sipped my drink. The room exploded in voices. Questions. Rachel shouting, "Is this a joke?" Her dad pacing. Her mom holding her chest like she was about to faint. Jenna's face twisted in this grotesque blend of confusion, panic, and rage. This isn't real. It's fake. Someone hacked. Did you write these? Rachel held up her phone, already zooming in on a screenshot. Who's Eric? Her dad growled. The best part? I didn't say a single word. Not one. I just stood up, straightened my collar, set down my mimosa, and walked out of that house without looking back. Jenna didn't follow. I assumed she couldn't. Maybe her knees didn't work anymore. Maybe her ego got caught in her throat. Later that day, she called me 17 times. Left 5 voicemails. Each one a new version of denial, panic, gaslighting, bargaining. The final one was just, "Please call me. I need to explain. You don't understand what's really going on." Oh, I understood just fine. But there was more to come. You see, Eric wasn't the only player in this story. And Jenna? She wasn't the only one with secrets. The voicemail she left ended with a whisper, like she thought the walls were listening. You don't understand what's really going on. Which, of course, is what every liar says when their house of cards finally collapses under the weight of their own emojis. But curiosity's a funny thing. I wasn't about to answer her calls. I had standards. But I did want to know what twisted justification she was about to invent for broadcasting her affair on the Family Slideshow network. That night, around 2:40 a.m., I heard a noise. Not loud, but that kind of subtle, sneaky rustle you only hear when someone's trying not to be heard. I live in a smart home, remember? Lights, door locks, thermostat, all connected, all logged. So when Jenna tried using her old key and the deadbolt didn't budge, I got a ping on my phone. Front door, manual unlock attempt blocked. She was standing outside in her yoga leggings and a hoodie, holding her phone like it was a grenade with the pin halfway out. I watched her through the ring cam for a minute before opening the speaker. "You forgot the part where you say sorry," I said, my voice filtered through the porch light speaker. She looked up at the camera like it had just called her out in front of God. "Brian, can we talk?" I swear it's not what it looked like. I let that hang in the air for a moment. Not what it looked like. Right. The old classic. Like maybe all those moaning audio messages were just theater rehearsals. Maybe the peach emoji meant vitamin deficiency. Maybe they were rehearsing for a really avant-garde marriage counseling program. "I'm not home," I said, even though I clearly was. "Please," her voice cracked. "Just let me explain." "You've got 60 seconds, I replied. "Make it count." There was a pause, long enough that I could hear her breath hitch. Then she said something I genuinely didn't see coming. It wasn't just me. It was Rachel. She set it all up. That made me sit up in bed. "You're saying your sister was behind this?" I said. "What? Did she ghostwrite your sexts?" Produce the audio clips? Design the custom emoji playlist? No, she said, her voice shaky. Just let me in. Please. I didn't. But I did pull up her texts. Remember, shared Apple ID. She never disconnected from iCloud. And as I scrolled through her messages from earlier that day, I found something weird. A thread with a contact labeled R. Just R. Inside were 3 messages from that morning, all timestamped just after the slideshow detonation. Told you he wouldn't take it well. Don't forget who helped you set that up. Now you owe me. I stared at those words for a solid minute. Something about them didn't sit right. Rachel and Jenna had always been tight, but I chalked it up to basic sisterhood. The wine nights, the gym selfies, the let's go detox at the lake house weekends. I always figured I was just background noise to them. But now I wondered. I pulled up Rachel's Instagram, private, of course. She'd unfollowed me hours earlier, petty queen that she was. But her bio had changed. A single peach emoji. Same as Jenna and Eric's weird little fruit code. And suddenly, it clicked. Rachel wasn't just in on it. She'd started it. I did what I do best, dug deeper. Jenna had a shared folder in her notes app labeled Trip Plans. Harmless, right? Inside were itineraries, packing lists, and, boom, a subfolder called Private. That folder had a note titled Decoy Profiles. There, in Jenna's familiar bubble letter style, were screenshots of dating profiles. All for Eric. All with different photos. Different bios. But the same number. The burner. And guess who was managing the fake profiles? Rachel. There were messages like, change the name to Matt for next week. He likes brunettes. Use the lake house again. He'll fall for it. Make sure mom doesn't see the texts this time. I sat back, a laugh bubbling up despite myself. It wasn't just an affair. It was a goddamn sting operation. Rachel had been baiting Jenna with Eric, her own husband, and coaching the whole thing like some deranged director of a softcore reality show. And Jenna? She'd swallowed it whole. The betrayal wasn't just mine. It was Jenna's too. And suddenly, the idea of revenge evolved. This wasn't just about humiliation. It was about implosion. And now I had all the players, Jenna, Rachel, and Eric, each tangled in a web so stupidly intricate it could only end one way. But I wasn't done yet. There was still the matter of Eric. Up until now, he'd just been a fuzzy shadow in the background of selfies and late-night texts. But I wanted to meet the man who emojied his way into my marriage. Not to confront him, just to see what kind of idiot signs up to be a pawn in a sister's decade-long revenge plot. Took me one Google search to find his LinkedIn. Classic tech bro, went to Arizona State. VP of something no one understands. His profile pic was him holding a French bulldog in front of a Tesla. He had an open calendar link, book a consultation. Probably for whatever scam startup he was running. So I booked one. Under the name J. Fox. Location? The same coffee shop Jenna used to drag me to every Sunday morning, back when she still pretended to care what I had to say. I didn't tell her I was going. I didn't tell anyone. When I walked in, he was already there. Brown blazer, boat shoes, dumb confidence. Exactly the guy you expect to be hiding behind a fox face emoji. He stood up and extended a hand. You must be J. Fox? I nodded, shook his hand. Yeah, I said. But most people just call me Brian. He froze. Just for a second. Then the color drained from his face like someone unplugged his soul. Look, man, I didn't. Relax, I said, sliding into the booth across from him. This isn't a confrontation. It's a collaboration. He blinked. What? I leaned in, lowered my voice. I know what you've been doing. And I know who told you to do it. His lips parted. No words came out. You think Jenna's the villain in this story. But you're just as dumb as she is. You've been sleeping with your wife's best friend, who also happens to be your own wife's sister-in-law, and who also happens to be working with your own wife to sabotage her sister. It's like a nesting doll of treachery. He swallowed hard. Rachel said Jenna was into it. She was. That's not the issue. The issue is Rachel used you. And you let her. I leaned back and smiled. But I'm not here to threaten you. I'm here to offer you a way out. He raised an eyebrow. A way out of what? Out of becoming the centerpiece of my next slideshow. He looked like he might throw up. Here's what you're going to do, I said. You're going to send Jenna a very sweet, very detailed breakup message. You're going to tell her you're moving away. You're going to ghost her. Block her on everything. Leave her in the lurch. He stared at me. And why would I do that? I pulled out my phone and showed him a photo. It was of him and Jenna, naked, tangled, time-stamped, cropped from a security camera I'd installed last year at the cabin. Jenna had no idea it was there. Neither did he. I'd hate for Rachel to see this, I said. That did it. He nodded. We shook hands. Again. This time, his palm was damp. Later that night, Jenna got the message. I can't do this anymore. I feel used. I'm moving. Please don't contact me. She read it 13 times. I know, because I checked the message metadata before she finally threw her phone across the kitchen floor and screamed. And me? I sat on the couch, eating popcorn, watching it all from the Ring camera in the corner. Let her scream. This was only Act 3. There's a moment, just a moment, in any good revenge plot where your target starts to realize the walls aren't just closing in. They're padded. They're wired. And you've been watching the whole time. That moment for Jenna came 3 days after the Eric message. By then, her calls had turned into monologues. The voicemails range from shaky apologies to existential spiral. I don't know who I am anymore, Brian. We need to talk. You never really listened to me. You know that? Classic mid-betrayal revisionism. Rewrite the script so the villain gets a redemption arc. Only this wasn't a movie. And I wasn't handing out second chances. Eric had ghosted her. As promised. I checked the iCloud contacts again. His number was gone. No texts, no calls. His Instagram, poof. Gone. She looked for him on LinkedIn. Nothing. He'd become a ghost in every way except the ones that haunted her. And haunt her it did. I watched her slowly unravel in my home. Yes, my home. She still lived here, technically. She tried to act like nothing had changed after the slideshow event, clinging to the hope that maybe, just maybe, she could cry her way back into normalcy. But you can't unbroadcast a digital sex diary to your entire extended family. You can't emoji your way back into credibility. And you can't put toothpaste back in the tube once the lid's off and the whole neighborhood's watching you eat it with a spoon. I stayed cold, silent, cordial. She hated it more than yelling. And every day, I moved another piece on the board. The next step was Rachel. She hadn't contacted me since the brunch disaster. Not a text. Not a call. She was staying quiet, probably waiting to see if I'd out her to Jenna, if I'd blow up the second bomb. The one that would expose her as the puppeteer behind the Eric experience. But I had other plans. I wanted Rachel's secrets to unravel at their own pace. Publicly. Messily. So I paid a visit to someone who, until now, had been a background character. Rachel's husband, Peter. Peter was a CPA. A boring, beige, extremely stable man who thought a fun Friday night meant Costco samples and budget spreadsheets. I always liked Peter. I never told him that. But he was solid. And more importantly, he was unaware. I invited him to meet me for lunch. Nothing fancy, just a deli downtown that made decent Reubens. When he arrived, he looked nervous, like I was about to pitch him on cryptocurrency or pyramid vitamins. Thanks for meeting me, I said, sliding a folder across the table. He stared at it like it might explode. What's this? Read it. He opened it. Inside were screenshots, not of Jenna this time, but of Rachel. Chats between her and Eric. Different emojis. Same vibe. Same burner number. Wait, what? That's your wife? I said. And that's the guy she's been using to help ruin her sister's marriage. Your marriage, too. Eventually. He looked up, his face pale. But, I don't understand. Rachel hates Jenna. Exactly, I said. This wasn't about love. It was about leverage. I let that sink in. Peter read the chats again, this time slower. His hand trembled. Then he set the folder down and stared at me. Why are you showing me this? Because I think you deserve better. And because Rachel's not just sabotaging Jenna. She's using you as camouflage. You're the loyal husband she hides behind while she puppeteers affairs and scripts out sex like she's writing a smutty novella. Peter didn't say anything for a long time. Just chewed his lip. Finally, he asked the most important question of all. What do you want me to do? I smiled. Nothing. Not yet. He looked confused. But don't you want her exposed? Oh, she'll get exposed. Just not by me. That was the plan. Let guilt rot them from the inside. Let them wonder who knew what. Who might talk. Let them spiral. But I wasn't done yet. I had one more twist to drop. The final act needed a finale. So I booked a dinner. A very special one. I invited Jenna. Told her we needed to talk. Told her I wanted to clear the air. Maybe there's still something worth saving, I said deadpan. She lit up like a Christmas tree dipped in false hope. She even wore the green dress I used to like. Subtle. Manipulative. Classic. I picked a restaurant with huge windows, right on the water. Very visible. I wanted eyes on us. I wanted her to feel like something real was happening. A reconciliation. A chance. We ordered drinks. She started talking. Apologizing. Rambling. I think I lost myself, Brian. It wasn't about Eric. It was about, I don't know, feeling wanted. Feeling alive. I nodded. She went on. I felt invisible for so long. You were always working. I needed something that felt mine. I didn't want to hurt you. I swear. I didn't think you'd notice. That part made me laugh. I couldn't help it. Didn't think I'd notice? Jenna, you practically broadcast your betrayal on the home shopping network. She winced. Then I pulled out my phone. I want to show you something, I said. She looked nervous. Brian, please. It's not what you think. I tapped the screen. A video started to play. It was Rachel, in a stairwell, yelling into her phone, screaming about Eric, about how he ghosted her, how that idiot Jenna ruined everything by getting emotional. She was just supposed to flirt, not fall in love, Rachel snapped. I told you to keep it light. I paused the video. Jenna's face was blank. You had no idea, I said. You really thought it was real. She blinked fast. Rachel, she planned. Every move. Jenna's mouth moved, but no sound came out. I let that silence stretch. Then I leaned forward. This is your life now. Everyone knows. Your sister used you. Your boyfriend left you. Your family won't look you in the eye. And me? I'm just here to watch. Tears welled up in her eyes. But there was no sympathy in me. Not anymore. That well was dry. Then I stood up, dropped a folded envelope on the table, and turned to leave. What's this? She asked, her voice cracking. Papers, I said. Separation. I already moved the house into a trust. You'll get notice when the movers arrive. I didn't wait for her response. Outside, I stood by the water and breathed in the cool air. Crisp. Final. I pulled out my phone and called Peter. It's done, I said. She knows now. He didn't say anything at first. Then, so what happens next? Now, I said. Now we wait. Because the best part about betrayal? It keeps spreading. And Jenna was about to find out just how many people she'd really burned. There's something weirdly beautiful about the silence that follows a nuclear detonation, the kind of silence that feels alive. That's the silence that wrapped around our home in the days after the dinner. Jenna still hadn't moved out, not yet, but the house had changed. Every corner, every shadow carried this heavy, humming static, the weight of inevitability. She didn't scream, didn't rage, didn't throw my clothes in the driveway or sob into the curtains like I half expected. No, she walked around like a ghost. Sometimes she stared at walls like she was trying to see through them. Other times she sat on the edge of the couch and scrolled endlessly through her phone, hoping, I assume, that Eric would reappear or Rachel would confess it was all a prank. But ghosts don't come back. And sisters don't apologize when they've been playing chess while you were writing love notes in emoji. I'd moved into the guest room, not because I had to, but because I liked the symbolism. The space between us was permanent, tangible. She asked once, how long do you plan on staying in there? Until the movers come, I said, not even looking up from my laptop. She didn't reply. Instead, she focused on saving face. I noticed it immediately, a frenzy of social media activity. Carefully curated throwbacks, cheerful captions, inspirational quotes about growth and healing. All the things people post when their lives are on fire, but they want strangers to think it's a sunrise. But that wasn't the part that caught my attention. It was the subtle shade she started throwing. One post read, some people will never own their mistakes. That's okay. I'll own my future. Another, not everyone deserves your truth. Some people only want your silence so they can stay comfortable in their lies. I wasn't mad. If anything, I admired the effort. When your whole life implodes on slideshow, you've got to play the victim somewhere. And her followers? Oh, they ate it up. You're so strong, girl. Whoever hurt you lost the best thing in their life. Your next chapter will be amazing. Yeah, sure it will. But I didn't need to reply, because reality was already doing the work for me. Jenna's family was still radio silent. Her mom hadn't called since the brunch. Her dad was MIA. Rachel was, ironically, the only one still active, posting selfies with Peter like nothing had happened, like she hadn't orchestrated a human chess match with Jenna as the queen she gladly sacrificed. Then, one afternoon, something shifted. It was a Wednesday, cloudy, cold, The kind of day that smells like nothing and feels like waiting. Jenna was pacing the kitchen, phone in hand, mumbling under her breath. I was at the dining table, sipping coffee, pretending not to watch her. She muttered, "Unbelievable," and then, louder, "So now she's acting like the victim? Unreal." I waited. Then she turned to me. "You know Rachel posted a picture of her and Eric at that dumb wine festival? From 3 months ago." I raised an eyebrow. So, she's trying to make it look like they've been a couple this whole time. That she didn't set him up with me. That I was the other woman. I sipped my coffee. She used my photos. She screenshotted my stories and cropped me out. It's all over her timeline now. Look, she shoved her phone toward me, screen glowing with Instagram rage. There it was, Rachel and Eric, all smiles, glasses of rose in hand, standing in front of a vineyard like they hadn't just been accessories to a romantic crime spree. The caption? "Sometimes you have to lose the wrong people to find the right one." I set down my mug. "You didn't think she'd use you too?" Jenna blinked. "She's my sister." Was. She looked like I slapped her. "Don't act surprised," I said, standing. "Rachel's been sharpening her knives since high school. You just finally handed her your back." She didn't argue, just sat down slowly, eyes distant. That night, after she went to bed, or at least pretended to, I logged into the home server. You remember the photo frame from the brunch? That was just one part of the system I'd set up when I got obsessed with smart tech. Cameras, cloud sync, encrypted backups, everything stored, everything timestamped. I had over 6 months of house footage. Mostly boring. Cooking, watching TV, Jenna folding laundry while humming Adele. But mixed in were little moments. Glances, phone calls, whispered conversations in the hallway when she thought I was asleep. I found one. It was from 2 months before the brunch. Jenna on the phone in the kitchen, whispering while checking over her shoulder. She said, "No, Rachel, he doesn't suspect anything. Yeah, I'm making it look like it's all on me, but he's not dumb. I think he's starting to notice things." Then she laughed. "I told you, I've got him eating out of my hand." I uploaded the video. No editing. No commentary. Just a clean, 20-second clip. Then I created a new Instagram account. No profile picture. No name. Just a burner. And I sent the clip to Jenna's mother. Then her father. Then Rachel. Then Eric. Then Peter. No message. Just the video. Let them draw their own conclusions. Let them see the snake in its natural habitat. The fallout was glorious. Jenna's mother called the house that evening, for the first time since brunch. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. "We need to talk. About Jenna. About what we saw." Rachel went private on Instagram that night. Deleted 3 posts. Changed her bio to a Bible verse. Eric? His account disappeared entirely. Peter sent me a text. "So, she played us both." I replied, "Not anymore." And Jenna? She walked into the kitchen at midnight, eyes bloodshot, holding her phone like it was covered in acid. "What the hell did you do?" I shared the truth. "You violated my privacy." "No," I said calmly. "You just finally saw what it looks like from the outside." She didn't scream. She just said, "You're enjoying this." I nodded. Every minute. And I meant it. Because the thing about revenge, real revenge, isn't the explosion. It's the echo. It's the way it keeps ringing in their ears, days and weeks later. The way they lie awake wondering who saw what. Who knows? Who's laughing? It's the way their own lies become prison bars, one screenshot at a time. And Jenna? She was locked in now. But I wasn't done yet. I had one more move. The twist. The thing that would leave her not just humiliated, not just lonely, but irrelevant. By the time Jenna finally moved out, the house felt lighter. Not in some spiritual, crystals on the windowsill, cleanse your aura kind of way. Just practically lighter. Less perfume lingering in the hall, fewer inspirational quote, magnets on the fridge, and best of all, no more midnight whispering down the hallway when she thought I was asleep. She left on a Friday. Didn't say goodbye. Just slammed the trunk of her hybrid SUV, reversed out of the driveway, without even looking in the rearview mirror, and disappeared down the street like she was running from something. And she was, mostly herself. I watched her go from the living room, sipping black coffee and scrolling through Zillow, because why not? I'd earned a little property upgrade after all this. Maybe somewhere quieter. Fewer ghosts. The front door clicked shut behind her, and just like that, it was over. At least, she thought it was. But I had one more chapter. One last page she didn't know existed. Because poetic justice doesn't end when the villain leaves. It ends when they realize they never even mattered to begin with. It started 2 days later when I showed up to brunch. Not the family kind. That ship had long sunk and was probably rotting somewhere at the bottom of the Mariana Trench of Dignity. No, this was a work brunch, my firm's quarterly social mixer. Casual, polished, small talk with a side of free mimosas. I wasn't planning to make a scene. Honestly, I almost didn't go. But I figured, new chapter, new attitude. Besides, I had something in my back pocket. Her name was Nicole. She worked in HR. Sharp, funny, didn't fake laugh at every joke I made, which immediately earned her points. She'd always been friendly, but lately we'd been messaging more. Nothing serious. Just normal. Refreshing. We met at the cafe. Talked about books, travel, all the safe stuff. I told her the bare minimum about what I'd been through, the edited for television version. She nodded, took a sip of her drink, and said, "Sounds like you dodged a bullet." Or 10. I laughed. A real one this time. First in a while. Then, out of sheer curiosity, I opened Instagram. The burner account still sat in my apps, the one I'd used to send the video of Jenna's whispery betrayal. I hadn't logged in since. Figured I'd check in on the digital crime scene. First thing I saw, Jenna's latest post. A photo of her in a yoga studio, mid-pose, with a caption that read, "Forgiveness is the final form of love. Healing every day. Hashtag rebuilding, hashtag strength, hashtag still standing." The comments were a parade of clueless cheerleaders. "You got this, girl. Never let a man define you, a queen. Bounce back season." I scrolled. Same pattern. Her feed was a temple of vague empowerment, pretending none of the last few months had happened. No mention of Eric, or Rachel, or the slideshow, or the audio moaning in surround sound while her dad choked on his omelet. She'd rebranded herself like a startup trying to shake a PR disaster. And that's when it hit me. She still thought she could win the narrative. She thought the story had moved on. But I wasn't quite finished. That night, I pulled out the hard drive. You remember that, right? The digital treasure chest of Ring footage, WhatsApp logs, iCloud backups, all neatly timestamped and archived. I'd saved everything, not out of spite, but out of principle. Then I built a website. Nothing fancy, just a landing page. Password protected. Simple black and white design. A title in bold. The Group Chat Affair. A cautionary tale in emojis and deception. Below it, a short introduction. This site contains a curated narrative of a modern betrayal, constructed entirely from real messages, photos, and audio files collected over a 6-month period. All names have been changed. All truths remain intact. Then came the exhibit list. Screenshot gallery of WhatsApp group messages, emoji-laced and decoded. Audio clips with transcriptions. Timeline of events with receipts, literally. A full breakdown of Rachel's involvement, including her own coaching texts. A video montage titled, "The Whispered Confession." At the bottom, one button, Request Access. Here's the trick. I didn't post the link publicly. I sent it in DMs. Carefully, strategically, to a few choice contacts in Jenna's world. Old high school friend, her Pilates instructor, her old college roommate, the one she blocked after a fight about toxic vibes. I even sent it to Rachel's old ex-best friend, the one who mysteriously stopped talking to her right around the time Rachel borrowed her boyfriend for a birthday weekend. Then I waited. And oh, did it spread. Slow at first. A couple dozen views. Then screenshots hit Facebook. Someone posted a vague status about wild stuff going on in this town. A link appeared in a Reddit thread about worst sibling betrayals. Even a burner TikTok surfaced, reading the audio files over aesthetic beach footage. I didn't need it to go viral. Just far enough. Enough to reach Jenna. Which it did. 3 days after I launched the site, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. "Jenna, how dare you do this? I'm trying to move on. You're ruining my life." I didn't reply. She followed up. "You think this makes you the bigger person? It just proves you're bitter. You've always been petty." Still no response. 10 minutes later? "Please, take it down. People at the studio are asking questions. I'm being harassed. And finally, I'll say whatever you want. Just make it stop." There it was. The moment I'd been waiting for. Not the apology. I didn't care about that anymore. But the desperation. The loss of control. The realization that she didn't get to rewrite the ending. I let her sweat for a full day. Then I responded with a single message. "Now you know what it feels like." That was the last time we ever spoke. The site stayed up for 2 more weeks. Just long enough to do its job. Then I pulled the plug. Vanished it like it had never existed. Closure? No, I don't believe in that. But balance? Yeah, I believe in that. Jenna moved cities 6 weeks later. New name on social. New job. Trying to be someone else. That's fine. Let her rebuild. Let her post photos of sunsets with captions about the universe and destiny and becoming. She'll always know who she really is. And that's enough. As for me, I kept the house. Sold it 6 months later and bought something smaller. Cleaner. With no lingering scent of betrayal clinging to the curtains. Nicole and I are still friends. Or something more. Or less. We're taking it slow, whatever that means. And for the first time in a long time, I'm not looking over my shoulder or checking backup folders at midnight. I still get the occasional message. A DM. A friend request from someone I don't recognize. Usually a woman. Usually with a single sentence. I read your story. Sometimes that's all they say. Sometimes they add, thank you. And me? I just smile. Not because I'm proud, but because every now and then, the truth gets the last word. And this time, it's spoken emojis. Subscribe to the channel